Hey everybody, I'm Taki117, back with Taki Space Program. So, we are getting ready to cross the sphere of influence threshold of the moon, right down here, with our lunar satellite. Now, it is maintaining connection, as we can see, through its satellite dish. Now, we're about 11 minutes from our encounter here, so I'm just going to warp just a little bit. Now, I have not performed any burns or any maneuvers at all since our last episode. I have simply time warped until just before the sphere of influence, or just before the encounter, because I'm going to do something really cool here. So our contract specifically says science from space around the moon. It does not say from where. So, we have crossed the sphere of influence. We are officially around the moon. So I'm going to run all of these experiments. I'm going to recycle the ones that I cannot run, or that aren't going to give me any science. But I'm going to point radial negative. Now, the whole reason for pointing radial negative is to drop my periapsis without decreasing my orbital velocity. So, go ahead and fire up my engine here. And I'm actually going to put myself on a collision course. Now, of course, you're thinking, why on Earth, or rather in space, would I do this? Well, my reasoning is simple. I want to get rid of my extra engines. I don't need them anymore. There's no reason for me to have them. And there we go. So we are now intersecting the moon. I'm going to point retrograde. I've already transmitted science, so that is complete. And now I'm going to jettison my translunar injection stage. And there it goes. Now, that puff of smoke was the separator between my engine and that stage blowing up. It impacted the stage and disintegrated, basically. So now I'm going to point radial out. Ooh, that was dangerous. It's very dangerous, because my solar panel hit my debris, and it could have broken. Fortunately, it did not. I am going to pass within 4 kilometers of the moon, but I want to adjust my orbit so that when I leave the moon's sphere of influence, I actually return to Kerbin orbit. Ooh, there was a good one. Right here, actually. I pass within let's see if I can get that a bit closer. So right now what I'm doing is I'm playing around with the maneuver nodes. Let's actually accelerate. No, that doesn't help at all. Actually, which way? Oh, well, there's my problem. Now, of course, oops. I still have a contract to complete, so what I can do, see if I can do it. Yes, I can. So I can do that, and then put some retrograde in there. There we go. That is beautiful. I'm going to pass within, looks like about 4 kilometers of, or 133 kilometers of the surface, which is wonderful. So we're going to execute that node, and it's only going to take us 50 meters a second of delta V, which is fantastic. Fantabulous, if you will. As you can see, I'm still maintaining my connection with Earth through this satellite dish, or this large dish here. So we're going to make this adjustment, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to carry my orbit through the center of the moon and out the other side. And it's going to adjust it so that I remain inside the sphere influence of Earth. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and point prograde just because I can. And here we go. We are simply going to warp now. When I get within 500 kilometers of the moon, I am going to try to retransmit some of my science before passing around the dark side. Well, it's not really the dark side. Or I guess it is the dark side. It's technically not the dark side. It's the far side. Because as the moon orbits the Earth, it is rotating ever so slowly, so that the same side always points towards the Earth. Which means we never actually see the far side of the moon, although it goes through the same phases as the near side, just in the opposite order. So that when the near side is a full moon, the far side is a new moon. So on and so forth. So here we are, dropping. Alright, we're below 500 kilometers. So I'm going to go ahead and run. Alright, we're still considered high over the moon. So let's try below 300 kilometers. Still high over the moon. Okay. Let's try below 200 kilometers. Space near the moon. Okay, but I've already done that telemetry. I do have the Geiger counter. Transmit the mystery goo and the materials bay anyway. And I'm going to transmit that just because I can. I am aware I am running out of electric charge. That's not an issue. Alright. So we're going to come around the back side of the moon. As you saw, we lost connection there because the moon did pass within the Earth, and now the moon is, now my satellite is being blocked by the moon. That is unfortunate. That is Venus over there, and you can see Earth in the background. Some beautiful scenery here, really. And look at the Milky Way. There's Saturn. And there we go, we're back in the sunlight. Yeah, Mercury there. Big ominous moon. So now all we have to do is return to orbit around the Earth. Which means we need to leave the sphere of influence of the Moon. So this communication contract for the inner planets keeps doing this. I'm not entirely sure why. It doesn't register that I already have a satellite meeting those requirements in orbit of Earth. So I might just have to warp, 4 days from the tracking station. And there we go, we've successfully completed the Luna 3 contract. Point radial negative. And this is currently the farthest man-made object, with the exception of our one satellite that is still orbiting the Sun, Luna 1 there. This is the farthest satellite that we've made, that we've launched. This is a milestone. This is an accomplishment. It is self-sustaining, and we do have connection back to the Kerbal Space Center. Or in this case, the Kennedy Space Center. So, speaking of, let's head back there and see what other contracts that we can pick up while we're waiting for this communication satellite one to complete. Let's also see how much science we have. See if we can unlock any more tech nodes so that we can get more parts and do more science. Because science is what drives career, I think. Yes, you need funds to perform missions and whatnot, but funds are easy. Oh, we have 122 science. That's good. Let's build an orbital telescope. Discoverer 13. So Discoverer 13 was the first man-made unmanned object to survive re-entry and return to Earth from space. That seems significant. I do have to reach orbit. Okay. So we'll do that one. I could do a low resolution of the scan of the moon rather. I can test this orbital maneuvering system landed. Landed is always fun. So I think those are all the ones I'm going to do now. For now. So let's go ahead and design this orbital telescope. Has to have cacti optics in the cacti wide field. So let's go ahead and design. Let's first unlock some more tech nodes, like specialized construction. This gives me, looks like a docking port, a couple docking ports, some more decouplers, bunch of random things that might be good. Looks like some ladders, some more tanks and engines. I don't have enough to unlock the next tier, which is fine. But I can get 130 science, which does give me enough to unlock one thing for the next tier. And I'm going to go with bigger rockets are always nice. But instead, I think I'm going to do the advanced exploration because it gives me more science. More things that I can do for science points. Because like I said, funds are easy to come by, reputation is easy to come by. but science really drives your space program. So, let's see what we have. Now, this is going to be probably a pretty simple orbital telescope. It's not going to be much. It doesn't need to be much. It just needs to be a telescope with the appropriate parts. So we're going to go ahead and scrap that. We've already saved it. And we need orbital telescope. Module Cacti Optics. So and do a search here. Well, there's the wide field camera I need. That's good. Let's try. Here we go. Pretty basic telescope, actually. Look at it. Open the service bay. That is a tiny, tiny service bay. But you know what? That's okay. So we're going to put the wide field camera in there. And close up the bay. Now we need some sort of automatic control. Well, that works. Let's see if we have something maybe a little bigger, a little different. Not sure what I want to do with this. You know what? That works. I also would like to put a fairly large battery on here. Oh, that's a little too big. That works. There we go. Battery on there. It's I do want to have an antenna. I need an antenna actually. Let's see. Let's do I don't foresee this being in a very large or very high orbit. I'm thinking 300 kilometers at most. So it doesn't need to be very far, because that's low orbit is where most of my satellites are at the moment. I do like these sun catcher solar panels. I'll put those on there. And I need, see if I have any docking ports. Ooh, I do have some docking ports. Pretty basic, but they work. There you go. So I have some androgynous docking ports here. That works nicely. So the main reason for the docking port is so that I can dock something to this satellite and service it. Now this is of course naturally going to generate some debris. I can't really help that a whole lot. Yeah, I do want the monopropellant engine, or the monopropellant tank. So I'm going to put a small hypergolic engine on it. Or not. So this might actually get a legitimate fuel tank. I don't like the way that looks. Fortunately, I have tons of fuel tanks, so that's not an issue. Oh wow. too big. I can put don't like the way that looks. I'm gonna put that on there. Or kinda works. I think this is probably the hardest part of building a rocket, is getting it to look good. There we go. That works. So we have that. Needs to go in a fairing. Let's turn that shroud off. And we are going to turn once again to our trusty 2.5 meter fairing. And this one is actually rather tall. But it fits in there quite nicely, actually. So we have 1200 meters a second there, and it needs to get to, oh dear, 5 megameters, which means I need to change out my, actually no I don't, I can just add another one. Here we go. And a couple of these on either side. Go ahead and check their deployment. See how they look. Okay, I like that. So a couple of those. There's that. Now then, we need a rocket to get there. So once again, we are going to turn to our trusty, oops, wow, not expecting that to work. Well, there's 2900 meters a second, which is good. Not quite. Definitely not. You know what? I'm going to search by cross section and do 2.5 meter. I don't have a whole lot of 2.5 meter decouplers. Oh well. So there's 2900 meters a second, which should be more than enough. But I might not have enough fuel in this, in my Titan rocket. That could be an issue. That is an issue. I am, however, going to save it as a sub-assembly so that I can use it later. I'll call it Titan rocket. So I need more fuel. Lots and lots of fuel. So let's try one of these. Getting better. Getting better. So there's 3,000 meters a second. Let's see if I can squeeze more out of this. Oh, that's dumb. It's just an unpainted version. of this, which I actually like better. I like painted tanks. I wonder if I have a better engine for this first stage here. So this has a sea level or a max of 310. Let's see if I can get more than that in a lifter. Not as powerful though. That works. Works quite well, actually. I think I will keep that. Maybe add another small tank up top just to give me a little bit of extra fuel. Perfect. So let's put some launch clamps on it. I have no idea how this engine in particular behaves, so hopefully it's not a complete failure. But if it is, you know, we'll just roll with it. This is a fairly cheap rocket. Actually move these up to there. No, I want to move them down. So I can move the whole rocket down. There we go. This is my space telescope. So, well, that's it for this episode. Next time we will see if we can get this airborne and hopefully into the correct orbit. So until then, I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.